there. Today I'd like to have a philosophy talk and more of a direct experience talk on how tranquility and love are essentially the same frequency. This is something I didn't really understand until a meditation that I had today, where I went deep into tranquility. At least it was deep for me. I'd never gone this deep into tranquility before. And I did so because I heard a monk or some kind of meditation practitioner on YouTube say that tranquility is the essence or the foundation of all meditative practices. So I went deep into tranquility, and the more that I felt into it, the more it began to ripen and speak to me and deepen and amplify and solidify itself. And the more that this tranquility solidified itself, the more it began to feel like this warm, fuzzy feeling that we associate with love. And so I was reminded of two sayings. I'm going to start keeping track of my favorite sayings, and these two would go in there. Two sides of the same coin. It's two sides of the same coin, which is a saying that's been floating around in my head for the past couple days. I didn't really know why, but I think I know why now. So that was the first saying, and then the other saying is, all roads lead to Rome. Now, these two sayings are intimately and intrinsically connected, as you'll soon see. So it's two sides of the same coin. Tranquility in one hand and love in the other, or devotion, the devotional frequency, you could say. These are two sides of the same coin. So they are essentially two different aspects of the same inherent nature within us. You can easily transition from one of those energies to the other and back. And the other saying, all roads lead to Rome. So you go deep into one frequency, and you're going to go to the same place that all other frequencies go to. They all lead to the same place. They all lead back to the source. So that's why if you're an adept at one frequency, you're really an adept at all of them. That is, if you're a spiritual adept at one frequency. You can be an adept at some kind of external skill like juggling or playing piano or acting. But these skills, since they're external, they're part of the 3D world, part of the egoic game. I kind of see these skills as they seem a lot more separate, and perhaps they are a lot more separate because they're based in this, I was going to say false identity, but we could also call it just a temporary identity. But these other skills, where you go deep into one archetypal frequency, where the frequency speaks for itself, the frequency is the truth of itself. It couldn't be any other way. It can't be untrue. It just is what it is. You go deep into one of those frequencies, deep into the heart of who you are, and you'll have access to all the other myriad of frequencies, because they all stem from the same place. And so this is a profound insight for me. And it also makes me think of another concept that I'm very fond of, and that is that analogy, so to speak, where you take a boat and you take one plank off of it at a time to build a new boat. So at what point does the old boat no longer exist? At what point is it no longer the boat that it is, or that it was? And at what point does the new boat that's getting all those planks, at what point does that boat become a new boat? And is it a new boat, or is it the same boat? Are they two different boats, or is it the same boat? So another analogy for this is you drop 1 grain of sand down onto a certain spot once every, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, day, week, month, year. And then each time that period of time cycles, you'll drop another grain of sand. At what point does that collection of grain of sands become a hill of sand? Which grain of sand is it? And so what these analogies, I think, are speaking to is that our definition for things isn't so hard cut as we think it is. So our definition for what love is versus tranquility isn't so hard cut. They're closer to being one and the same energy than you'd think. And that boundary, the veil between the two, is very hard to decipher. Where is that boundary? Because ultimately there is no boundary. It's a spectrum of frequencies that we've just given names to at the extremes. So with that, I invite you to sit here for a couple minutes with me if you'd like, and just close our eyes and feel into whichever frequency you wish, be it love or tranquility, and just try to pick one and just sink into it. if you can, see if you can switch into the other frequency. And see what you notice. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hmm. Very pleasant for me. I hope it was for you. I found maybe that wasn't enough time to really feel into each frequency. For myself, I started with the love frequency this time. And I noticed that that energy is more lively. I could actually feel my heart more than I could anything else. And it was alive. And I don't know if I had enough time to really sink into that love frequency. But I was able to seamlessly transition once we switched into the tranquility frequency. And for me, the tranquility frequency is this full body, calming, vibratory experience. It's very relaxing. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for being here. Blessings on your journey. Om.